Hello, and welcome to another episode of The Healthy Speaker. I'm your host, Vanessa Emerson, the Dental Speaker and Dental Speaker Institute, and I am so honored and happy and just really looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today with one of my dearest friends, Shannon Blackmon. Thank you, Shannon, for being here and sharing with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited today. It's just always lovely to sit down with you and talk, and
Thank you.
others can listen in on our conversation. I'm so happy.
I feel like we have great conversations too, right? We have some similar interests for sure. You know, I invited Shannon here today because multiple reasons. I think she has such an important message to share for entrepreneurs, but really for all dental professionals. Our audience being dental meetings professionals, meaning speakers and consultants, planners, sponsors, those that are bringing the education and coordinating our meetings in dentistry. We have some very specific struggles or challenges or day-to-day growth opportunities that we are faced with as meeting professionals. And the Healthy Speaker podcast is really about helping bring solutions. And so I just want to share before Shannon shares a little bit about herself. Shannon actually is my coach, and I also have attended her workshop, which is fabulous. She'll talk about here shortly, I'm sure, but we'll talk about mindset around finances. I think that's so important for us as entrepreneurs to really have our head around. And so that was why I thought Shannon would be a fabulous guest and be able to share so much with us today. So Shannon, with that meandering introduction.
Love the introduction. Wonderful.
Tell us a little bit more, about you, like what you do, and what brought you to bringing forth these conversations around, mindset and all of that. So yeah. I'll hand it to you.
Well, I'm a certified financial planner, a registered life planner, and also a certified financial therapist level 1. And so I work at Thomas Dahl. We work with physicians and dentists and people in the medical field doing their financial plans for them. And I'm a portfolio advisor there.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things you've. So that was registered life planner, certified financial planner, and the last one was
also a certified financial therapist.
That's fabulous. So you have done some studying in this area, obviously.
Right. So I have a different approach than the traditional financial planning, which is more numbers-based and performance-based. I'm really interested in the human side of money and what our experiences are, and financial wellness, which for me is a balance of inner prosperity and outer prosperity. So I love conversations around that, and that's where my passion lies. And I'm an avid reader, and I love studying this and truly trying to integrate these two things. Psychology and finance, and how it works best for people.
I love your description of this, and it makes me think, so we're talking really about happiness, because success and financial success would be different for each person.
Right.
Really define internally. That's so powerful. Well, maybe get us started off today by sharing with us, in your world, in your experience with the people you work with and what you're learning. What are you most excited about today?
Well, what I'm most excited about is I've been reading about polyvagal theory, which is talking about our autonomic nervous system, because we all have nervous systems, right? So we have these nervous systems, and it's built to protect us. It's built to keep us safe. And so a lot of the decisions that we're making in the short term about money is really our basic self trying to keep us safe. And so I'm really trying to understand that we're on this continuum of protection and then connection, and where our decisions lie on that continuum. You don't often hear from financial advisors about their own story, right? Because it's easy for me to talk about my clients. They're very successful and managing millions, but I don't really talk about my own story. But about 10 years ago, I was married to a very handsome businessman. I was a stay-at-home mom. We had 2 little children, and we had all the trappings of conventional success. The children went to the best private schools. My only concerns were yoga and making something delicious for dinner and maybe planning a house party or something like that. And then one day it stopped.
Mm.
We lost a crucial contract and the income stopped. This was like a roller coaster drop, right? But it wasn't a ride. It was our livelihood. It was the dreams we had for our children, our lifestyle, everything.
Mm.
But this is why I think this is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm.
Because before I was very conscientious of money status. I was very conscientious of keeping up with the Joneses. And this took all of that away. You know that low-grade anxiety that we live with when we're waiting for the other shoe to drop?
Yeah.
Well, the other shoe had dropped.
Mm-hmm.
I was forced to arrive at acceptance. I had to arrive at acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I had to arrive at self-compassion, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I think that has given me a lot of empathy, because I remember when more recently in 2020, getting the phone calls from entrepreneurs, scared, right? Scared. If you talk about nervous systems in that stage, we were all scared. We were all in protective zones, flight or flight zones.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do we manage this? What can we control in this situation? It was very terrifying, you know. I think when I went through with what I went through, my nervous system response was flight or flight. I go into mobility mode. I went into hustle mode.
Yeah.
And I think it was just only recently that I realized, oh, wait a second, I don't need to hustle like that anymore, right? I can relax. I can come back to a state of calmness. And I wonder if anyone else can relate to that. Are you still hustling from 2020? Are you still in go, go, go mode? Are you still trying to rush around and make things work? Let's come back to our calmness. Let's come back and reconnect to our safety and see what emerges from there, right?
How do we do that?
These are good old-fashioned techniques. I mean, there's really nothing new under the sun. We're talking about breathing. That's our autonomic nervous system, right? So being in touch with our breathing, being in touch with our heartbeat, and inner listening. That deep inner listening. What is it that this state is trying to protect me from? How is it trying to protect me? You know, what would I do if I wasn't being so protected right now? So I think that the deep inquiry, the breathing, and the inner listening, you know, all that leads to self-compassion.
Yeah.
Right.
What a powerful story. And thank you for your transparency and highlighting that life doesn't just move along in a straight line.
Right.
Right. Right. And I think that's such a human way of being, to want to cling to that security, right? That security. So the area in which you work around finances and mindset, boy, what an important piece of our puzzles. You know, we've got nutrition, we've got sleep, we've got exercise, we've got all these things to think about, and recognizing what stress on a relationship is, stress on ourselves and our blood pressure and inflammation and like disease and all that come from this. This is such an important offering.
Right.
What do you suggest we do? So you mentioned there were a couple of things like breathing or meditation, or like what's our next step? Like, how do we talk ourselves down out of that tree if that's what we're feeling now? If we're feeling like, oh my gosh.
Right. Well, we are social mammals, and we get a lot of our cues of safety versus danger from other people.
Oh.
So I'm a big fan, and that's one of the biggest difficulties of 2020 was that not only were loved ones dying and the economy had stopped and people were sick and we were afraid and there was so much unknown, but we were isolated.
Yeah.
We don't have to be isolated anymore. We don't. So this is the time to recognize that we're social mammals and find good people. You know, we're social mammals. We get a lot of cues from each other. It can go one way or the other. There's lights and shadows to everything. Find good people. And I am a huge proponent, and I know you are too, of finding coaches, teachers, mentors, investing in the quality friendship with self-actualized people that are going places. These are the people that are going to love you how you are and also encourage you to make those baby steps, little risks to take you to the next level of financial wellness.
Oh, that all sounds wonderful. I mean, I just feel like there's such great content and ideas there. So let's jump off the last piece, like finding those self-actualized people. My thought, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, like where do we find them? So like, how do we do that? And so for me, my first thought, as you said, that is, maybe it's just becoming self-actualized ourselves.
Right. Yes, definitely. Well, like does attract like, and I know that you do a lot of work gathering people. I mean, your community is thriving and abundant, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm gathering people. I'm putting myself out there, first of all, and hoping that I will attract the right people towards me. You know? So we can have these delicious conversations, you know, where we can be authentic, because there's so much wisdom there, but it comes from taking those guards down and being authentic.
And listening, right? Listening to the inner voices that guide us to talk to that person at the conference that maybe before we'd be too shy, to like open a conversation, like listen to where we're guided. You tell us a little bit more about, you were saying that you're expanding your community out. What are some of the ways you're offering community? Like, what are some of your offerings?
Right. Well, I've started a women's entrepreneur circle where we can get together and share ideas, our challenges, and brainstorm together, as well as have some learning. So we're doing that monthly. So I'm so excited about that. Some really amazing women have been attracted to that. Yeah. And then I do the Reset Your Money workshop, which is in two formats, either a full day workshop or a series of 3 evenings. And that has been phenomenal. This is a small group, very intimate, safe space where we go deep into our money stories. We go deep and we do visioning. And then also we've got to do the work, because 80% of financial success is the mindset, but then there's that 20% math part, which is crucial. And so we also talk about that, just setting up a good foundation. And the reason why I want the foundation is not to accumulate, not for status, but so that we can feel safe. We want to feel safe. That low-grade anxiety that I was talking about is very unhealthy. And studies have shown that, you know, the financial stress is what causes relationships to have problems. It causes health problems. It's one of the biggest worries that people have.
Oh my gosh, it really is. And your Reset Your Money Mindset workshop is fabulous. I did attend that previously, and I would share with our listeners as well that it is a part of our fellowship program from Dental Speaker Institute. I think it should be a required of course. I think for everyone, you know, I think no matter, like someone might say, Vanessa's work with her, like a financial coach, because like from the outside, people have they look and they go, oh, well, you know, that person is doing such and whatever in the industry, and we make these assumptions. I feel like just because we know case acceptance or hygiene profitability, or like we have our area that we excel in, doesn't mean we can't learn more in those areas or beyond. And I think especially when we have goals. So I think it's just like therapy in my mind. It's like the time to go to the therapist is before you're having a crisis. Right. I think it's so important to work with others that can, like you say, the importance of the coaching and the importance of the education. It is just, you know, I'm a lifelong learner. And so maybe it's easy for me to say this because I just gravitate, and I think you are too. We just gravitate to that. But what I have found with entrepreneurs is those who do this work succeed. And it really is that black and white. In the years I've been providing business advisory, coaching to entrepreneurs, those who have worked on themselves and worked on developing their inner skills around self-development just are more successful from the way the world would define it, right? Like, so success is a whole nother conversation.
Right,
We kind of alluded to that, but like if we have business goals, we're more likely to not sabotage ourselves financially. I would love for you to talk about, I think how you said this a minute ago, you're talking about how like when you're feeling that pinch financially and like the decisions we make, what are some, how do we know that? Like, how do we know we're not knee jerking and doing something that would hurt ourselves down the road?
Right. Well, that's why the inner listening is so important as a practice. So you can say, what state am I in right now? Right? Because if you're in that fight or flight state, it's not a good time to make a financial decision, you know. And I do tell my clients too, I never want to pressure anyone to make a financial decision. So I'm like the opposite of a salesperson, right? I say, go home, sleep on it, meditate, talk to your spouse, think it over, call me when you're ready. It's like the opposite, because I want those decisions to come from a calm state. Yeah.
And from their gut.
And from their gut. Right. Yeah, because our nervous system is constantly pulling all this information from the environment and helping us to make a decision, not up here, but down here. Yeah.
What do you think about goals too, like financial goals? Because as I'm thinking this through, I feel like beyond the pandemic in 2020, what I'm still seeing in 2023 is that there are folks that are experiencing challenges from the economy, like everything has gone up in price, right? And interest rates and all that kind of stuff too. So there's still a pinch for sure.
Yes.
So I think this is a very current challenge for some of our colleagues. How do goals fit into this? Like, you know, we do you, and I'm just, none of this is scripted. Like, we're not following an agenda here, right? So like, you may say like, oh, that's not really what I do. But what I'm thinking is there, like, somebody might think, oh, I want to have $1 million a year in my business, or they might want to have like this vague thing. Talk to me about like the goals and maybe the budgeting and like, how do the actual numbers come into this?
Yes, I'll talk about how the numbers come in, because first of all, when I'm setting a goal, and I get a lot of this from Chuck Blakeman, who's another DSI faculty, but when I'm setting a goal, for me, numbers aren't that motivating, right? And when I've done the numbers before, I was like, oh, I need to earn 6 figures. Yes. Then once you get there, you're like, oh, it's just another day, just kind of having one of your birthdays in your 40s, like, oh, But when I have other goals, like having this many relationships or connecting certain people, I mean, to me, if I can connect 2 people, I made my day. That's my day right there. So for me, having other goals is more important. And studies have shown that, the stuff is fun, the material things is fun, but what we really like, what really widens our heart and opens our heart is relationships and time spent with the people that we love. So I like when people peel back the layers of what's important to them. Yes, we need money for security, this and that, but why is that important? Why is that important? When we get to the core of what's important is spending time with the people that we love and having these wonderful experiences. So if we can know that and shape our goals around that, that's what really makes things glow, right? Makes things really glow. And when that comes to budgeting, we have to prioritize. We have one lifetime or maybe more, but we can't do everything at once. Like I might want to be a concert pianist, not in this lifetime, right? So we have to prioritize things. And I like to build a budget on what's most valuable and most important to you. For me, going on retreats is very valuable to me. So there's other things that I'll do without eating out, etc., to get to so that I can fund what's most important to me. So I like to look at my entire budget and really assess everything that's going in and going out. And then just like Marie Kondo does when she's cleaning out a closet, she picks it up. Does it give her joy? If not, she gives it away or recycles it. So I like to do that with every item. Is this subscription still bringing me joy? No, let it go. And the things that do, you put your resources towards that. So your definitions of success and your financial wellness and your budget and your lifestyle is going to look different than anyone else's. There's things that don't matter to you that matter to other people, and things that matter the most to you, that's where you're going to put your resources.
Oh, I love that. And then it doesn't feel like, oh, I've got to do a budget.
Right. No.
I get to.
Right. Yeah. And you could call it whatever you want. Like budget, it does sound like a dirty word. It sounds like corset or like don't you budge.
Yeah, restricted.
It sounds like that. But you can call it your
that.
garden.
Oh,
you can call it your
that.
garden. Yeah.
I love that. And so that it's more, I'm building out the life I want.
Yes. Yeah.
And I love the idea of rewarding yourself with like something like a retreat, or when you meet a financial goal, there's a reward there for yourself. Like then I can have a maid, or then I can have like you give yourself some additional time in your world. I can have somebody come in and help me with the cats.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. And especially for entrepreneurs, like time is the biggest dividend that money can buy. That's, if you really, really want to have your, bang for your buck, spend money buying yourself time. Yes. And that means delegating. That means, hiring the virtual assistant. Yeah. That means asking for help and getting help. That's something that people with a wealthy mindset get right away. I'm going to trade this money for time, because your time is so valuable, especially as an entrepreneur.
Boy, I'll tell you what, you're dead right. So there's so much here we could talk about. Like we could talk for hours, but I know we probably need to start moving toward a wrap up. Darn it. One thing I wanted to highlight, and I think you mentioned this a few minutes ago, was that your Reset Your Money Mindset workshop will be returning again this fall. Yeah. And so to find out more about that, we go to Shannon Blackmon. Blackmon is spelled MON.com, ShannonBlackmon.com, and then best email Shannon@ShannonBlackmon.com to be able to reach out to Shannon with questions and get more details about that. It's under the seminars tab on the workshop, on the website, and called Reset Your Money Mindset. Highly recommended. It's an exceptional course. It was a lovely day. And I think you're offering it in a different format now, where it's a couple different nights.
Right. I've broken it up too, so that people can do that. If they don't have the full day, we can meet in the evenings. And this really is my baby. It's my passion project, and it's continually evolving. As I'm learning, I'm able to pour more into it. It's just amazing.
Awesome. And you mentioned earlier you have your Circle for Entrepreneurial Women.
Yes.
I'm excited to participate here in the near future with that as well. And what about our men? How do our men work with you?
Well, men can do financial coaching with me. We could do more traditional financial planning. And I also do a monthly study club, the Thomas Dahl Study Club. And that one is free. You can join in. And that's just a wonderful time to talk about beyond the numbers. Financial wellnesses. So lots of ways to work with me.
There's so many great offerings. I forgot that one. And I've attended a couple of your study clubs, and the time goes so quickly, and they're just so full of incredibly rich conversation and ideas. So thank you for bringing that at no fee to the industry. It's incredible. So again, at ShannonBlackmon.com under study club, you'll find that there. Shannon. Before we wrap up, is there anything we haven't talked about that you feel would be important to leave us with today?
No, if there's one thing that I would like people to bring with them, is this idea of self-compassion. Because if you realize that, so much is automatic when it comes to our decision making. So if you've made, financial mistakes, as we all have some self-compassion about that, and develop some curiosity about like, oh, how how did that happen? What state was I in at that time? But I think if we develop that practice, we'll be able to return to calmness and make new, fresh decisions. So,
Oh my gosh, thank you for that. Yes. That's like a weight that can be we can let go of, right? We don't need to feel like we're judged.
no,
Everybody is learning.
right, right. Yeah, just like the market goes up and down, up and down, up and down. Success is not a straight line.
No. So what I believe you and I are on the same track with what I really believe. And I heard you say this, the challenge that you experienced 10 years ago when the job just stopped was really a learning opportunity. It was a
Right,
chance to reshuffle where you were heading into it was a realignment.
right,
We can
right,
welcome those downturns in the market as realignment.
right, right. Exactly. It's what develops resilience, because resilience is the ability to quickly go from challenge to opportunity, and yeah, yeah,
Flex that muscle. Yeah, I
right,
love that. Love that.
yeah.
Well, my friend, it's always so fabulous to spend time with you. Thank you.
Oh, you too, you too. I love
Uh, Appreciate you
it.
being a part of our fellowship as a faculty member. And of course, the Reset Your Money Mindset workshop is a fellowship approved course for those of you who are on that path. And if you'd like to know more about the fellowship, since I'm mentioning that here, just visit dentalspeakerinstitute.com. It is the first tab fellowship. If you have any questions about the Healthy Speaker Initiative or our annual meeting expansion, reach out to me at info@thedentalspeaker.com. Would love to hear from each of you. And Shannon, until next time, big hugs for you. Much love to you. And I'm sure we'll be collaborating in some way soon because there's so much you have to share that's of importance for our community. So thank you for shining your light here.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What a wonderful opportunity.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And be well, everyone. And we'll see you next month.
Take care.